So stressful. When the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Oh, there we go. Can you hear me now? Man. Well, that's weird. Anyways, let's go through the markets really quickly here. I'm a little disjointed this morning because my alarm clock didn't go off on time. So here's the E-mini. So E-mini doing pretty okay yesterday. They dipped pretty hard in the morning session, but then it's just like always, it's like a hard dip and then buy the dip and new all-time highs now finally. At least I believe that's all-time highs, right? And pushing a little bit higher in the overnight session. When we come over to the Treasury is still hanging out down here. So this is a concern, but it appears that at least this time, I mean, this time back here it was bad, right? Because that was supply. This time this appears to be reflecting continued bullishness in the economy. So I guess it's okay. Oil took a huge hit yesterday, as we you recall, while we were streaming. It just got absolutely slaughtered. Pretty hard pressed down. Gold and silver kind of going sideways, but handling things okay. The dollar still looking pretty strong. Copper taking a little bit of hit there as the Asian session just not going so well. You can see here the dollar's being okay strong overnight, but here just recently taking a bit of a hit. So that is good for us. And then we've got these retail sales numbers coming in. So how the dollar reacts to that is going to be really interesting, and I think the thing that's going to end up mattering. But retail sales month over month for February, we're looking for a reading of -0.5. I actually heard some estimates more in the range of -1%. So the retail sales are not expected to be good. It could be interesting to see if retail sales are worse than expected, how the market reacts, because, well, I mean, man, can you imagine negative retail sales, all-time highs? It's a little weird, don't you think? Anyways, so that's basically the setup that we've got for today. I guess I will turn on my robots here. Also, we should check Bitcoin. Bitcoin taking another small leg down and piercing the 5,500 level. So we got about 5 minutes here. I have some food that I have finished before the news, so I'm just going to chat down here. Oh, that's interesting. Spot Gamma is saying that the peak gamma right now is at 4,000. That's interesting. There's still a lot at 3,900 though. Yep. And 3,950. Okay, so here comes the number. Wow, -3. -3.0. Well, I was joking with Discord chat there. Hey, do you think we can get a negative retail sales print and still go to new all-time highs? You know, thinking that it was going to be like a -7 or something like that, right? And then we got -3? You got to be kidding me. That's nuts. That's absolutely so. I don't think they're going to have to go to like low session lows. I mean, this is just going to get pummeled. I mean, it's kind of hard to say that it's going to do a ton just because there's that stimulus there, right? But that is a really bad print. Have I seen? Okay, now I got to come back here and look. Have we ever seen a retail sales that bad? Core retail sales was -2.7. Okay, so the worst that we had was like we were like -8, -10. Okay, but this is worse than pretty much anything pre-pandemic. Wow. Let's go read the report, shall we? Retail sales will be revised based on the results of the 2019 annual retail trade survey and the survey annual survey. Blah, 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 blah. The advanced estimates are based on a subsample of the Census Bureau's full retail and food services sample. Stratified random sampling method is used to select approximately 5. Now this is all just general information on it. Here we go. So where is it all coming from? Retail and food services, -3. Motor and vehicle part sales, -4. Furniture and home furnishing, -3.8. Electronics and appliance stores, -1.9. Building material, -3. Gasoline stations is up 3.6. Clothing, -2.8. Ooh. Sporting goods, hobby, musical instruments, and bookstores, -7.5. General merchandise stores, -5.8. Miscellaneous stores, non-store retailers, -5.4. Food services and drinking places, -2.5. This is just an awful, awful report. How did it get so bad? Yeah, retail sale was published at the bottom of the hour. That's so bad. How is it so bad? Well, we knew that it was going to be bad based off of the consumer data that was coming through. Like credit card usage and things like that. We knew it was going to be bad. But that's really bad. Well, let's go and take a look at what has moved as a result here. I can see the euro falling and the dollar coming back up since the report. Dollar recovering here. 6J taking a dive. Treasuries came up hard there. Hard and are now retreating. Oil's kind of sideways. What about Kappa? Kappa down. Doesn't appear that the movement in copper has anything to do with this, though. Gold and silver selling off a little bit, too. Well, it's gotten awfully quiet since that. I'm going to go and get some water here. Robots are taking a few trades, so we'll see what happens. But I'll be right back and get some better water. 15% of investors surveyed think U.S. equities is in a bubble. 25% say early stage bull market, and 55% say late stage. Really? Well, I would say that we are in an early stage bull market. Considering how bad it was, the market kind of shrugged it. Well, yeah, I mean, we expected the retail shelves to be negative. And like I said, it's really hard to be super negative on the indexes when we just passed a big stimulus bill, right? So, like, I don't know. Wow, Goldman Sachs was almost right on the numbers. High-frequency data suggests a sharp pullback in retail goods spending following the January spike, which itself reflected the disbursement of the $600 stimulus checks and the reinstatement of unemployment top-up payments. We also believe winter storms in the south and resulting power outages weighed on the retail spending in that region. We expect a slightly smaller decline in the ex-auto gas category, reflecting flattish restaurant spending. We estimate a 2% drop in both the headline and ex-auto measures, reflecting higher gasoline prices, but a pullback in auto sales. Yeah. The money is not going to be spent on clothing, though. Lol. Yeah, well, it kind of makes you wonder. But they're bringing up a good point here that, okay, it was lower because it was so high before because of stimulus checks. So you're going to get a drop off from that, but then you're also going to get a drop off from the winter storms, the whole Texas falling apart. That's definitely going to hurt retail sales. Yeah, makes total sense. But I think that it kind of puts you into a place where it's like, okay, we're at all-time highs. Why do we need to put stimulus out there? But then you look at that and you say, oh yeah, without that stimulus, this economy would be a dumpster fire, right? They say 40 billion is going into Bitcoin. I don't know. Are you going to see Bitcoin going up to 60K and then falling back down? Kind of interesting. I think people are going to lose their money if they put it all into Bitcoin. I really do not believe that these prices on Bitcoin are sustainable. But you know what? We can't predict that one. That one is just like, it's never going to end over there. It seems like they're in a bubble and there's no limit to how high they can go. Makes sense, but at the same time, the expected number should be accounting for that. It was very below expectation. Yeah, well, interesting that Goldman Sachs was able to predict the number so well. Some predictions are better than others. Americans ready to pour 40. Well, a lot of people have already gotten the stimulus checks too, All of those people that get them from direct deposit should have them before the end of the week. I continue to struggle with okay, how are you supposed to invest that money if the markets are at all-time highs and every sector is overvalued? Where do you put the money? I don't get it. Is this inflation? I don't know. Actually, I want to put it into, I know what I want to do with it. I want to put it into industrial real estate. Yes, that's what I wanted to put it into. AstraZeneca shares post their biggest gain this year, with investors focusing on its drugs pipeline and earnings growth despite its COVID vaccine woes in Europe? Really? Because your vaccine being halted because they think it causes blood clots would kind of tend to be a bad thing for your stock, don't you think? Don't you think? Why does my poll gap create a data series down here? That's not right. I got a couple of things I got to fix. Bootlicking his former company so predictable. I didn't post that tweet. Somebody else posted that tweet, but hey, it's pretty good. Here's the I've said this many times before, but here's the thing you got to realize about Goldman Sachs in what is it called? Information Research or International Research Group. They might as well be a separate company, man. It is they are like not allowed to talk to anybody else in the company. And it's going to be the same for all those major banks. Their investment is a completely different thing. And I got to say, sometimes their research is really, really good, and sometimes it is awful. So it's kind of hard for that sort of, otherwise I would just be like, well, Goldman Sachs says that the estimate is going to be this, and we would just trade off of what they're asking. But it's not that clear. Well, they were making a little bit of a push down, and now they're oscillating back up again. So it's just like pretty much a typical telecom company. Is that the way things? I don't know. There's like really strict regulations though on walls between certain groups. Equity traders are not allowed to know what the information research guys are talking about. They literally put them in a different city so that they can't talk to each other. So that there's no like, oh, well, my friend down, that works on this floor, because they all work in the same. No. We're just going to put them in a different city so that we don't have that problem. Oh, in the sense that sometimes it's good, but sometimes it's just trash. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just research, right? But the problem is that these research guys, they work hard. They know a lot of stuff, and they have a lot of valuable information for the markets. But one, the market factors in their analysis before the numbers come out. And two, there's just so much. Like, honestly, there is just so much that can potentially go wrong in an estimate like that you don't know that there's going to be a very large percentage of the time that you're going to be wrong. So that's why it's even some of the best analysts are wrong like 50% of the time, right? Well, I want to say they're trying to dig it back out of the hole, but I mean, is it really trying to do anything? It's just kind of sputtering around, and the futures traders aren't really aggressively touching it. We could wait till the top of the hour and then see if people come in and we do some more. But and then the treasuries are just kind of in no man's land too. We did get that gap. So part of the problem was that like market makers straight up pulled down here, down in the like 39.60. So let's call it 39.60 to 62 area. So like now they're just like, oh, well, I don't want to trade it. We could push down to the end, and then maybe you might start get a ton of volatility, or the same on the upside, right? Volkswagen is the new Volkswagen. Whoa, what? Oh yeah, they've been spiking pretty high too. Interesting. Global Fund Manager Survey. It's over tweet zero hedge. What? What they talking about there? It's over must mean the pandemic is over. I don't know. Oh, Zero Hedge also noting delayed tax refund. Being on a seasonally adjusted basis, lower retail sales. I can see that even though we're moving up here, the S&P is lagging, so it looks like they are yeah. It looks like it's the techs and the NASDAQ and so forth that are pushing it here. So let's fix this chart over here. That's a little better. Much better. We should also change my order flow delta here. Well, that one is set to is overlay false, so I don't know why that one does this funky thing. Oh, I didn't add them to the chart. Oh, I'm going to have to go and fix that. Oh, and did one of the J's crash? Hold up. Yeah, one of them crashed. Interestingly enough, neither of them have taken a trade. Gabby took a trade. Gabby got it pretty good. I started studying options and how bank treasuries and hedge funds comply with Basel Accords, doing delta hedging, considering an options delta curve as being a long normal distribution. Isn't that... Oh, thank you. I love the microphone. Yeah, that's great. Isn't that the reason the underlying market tends to form distributions? So when you're talking about like a volume profile distribution, I'm going to say no. I mean, you see those distributions in all markets, and the reason that forms has more to do with how latent liquidity behaves. Juror 51 admits she cannot be impartial after hearing the city awarded George Floyd's family a record $27 million. There's still that jury selection is just going to be... Ugh. That whole trial is just going to be a big mess. Goldman Sachs predicting 8% growth in the U.S. economy. Can you imagine 8% growth? Wow. That will be amazing. Couldn't you put a large amount of your money on a very short, high probability trade? Yeah, if you had a very high probability trade, I suppose. But what if most retail traders consider high probability is also extremely high risk. Yeah, it's about latent liquidity. When these guys' options delta curves go up, they capture the delta difference by selling the underlying. That's why market rejects some volatility extremes. They are waiting there to sell. Yeah. Well, I think that's why we get the behavior that we do when we get to the VIX targets, right? Prince Philip leaves hospital 2 weeks after successful heart surgery. Wow, he survived that. I'm impressed. I think some guys in Discord think that too. They're all about tracking options flow and capturing the gamma curve. Yeah, well, so I mean, the thing is that there's like there's the game gamma what is it called? Spot Gamma, the website where they kind of track this sort of stuff. I think that's really useful. Like, that'll give you more useful levels on the market than almost anything else, but it doesn't predict per se which way it's going to go, right? Spring. Another thing with the gamma thing is that if you're going to play like that long-term gamma stuff, that's like more of a swing trade, right? Like you're ending up playing like that would be an options swing trade. That said, I don't know anything about like the exact models that they use to calculate this stuff, so. Well, the treasuries seem to be floating back up. Can see here at the top of the hour, volume picking up a little bit in the indexes. Please elaborate what you just said. Well, like all of this option hedging, for instance, is kind of why the options end up being priced the way that they do, and they expect the market to go a certain direction, and so that kind of factors into how they price all of the different strikes and so forth. So if you were an options trader and you're trying to take advantage of this, right? Taking advantage of that over time on average is going to be like a break even sort of a thing, right? And for the futures, it's like if you were to play it, it ends up being like a swing trade because the prices, you're talking pretty large swings, right? So I think that it's like you want to know where they are at, where the gamma prices are at and everything, but doesn't necessarily predict what's going to happen, right? But it's kind of more like, well, we know where they want it to go to, and if it starts going away from that, then we know that we can press it because they're going to be freaking out. So do you see how they're trading quite a bit more volume in the 60 area now? So bouncing a little there. There's ace. Hmm. Post a comment. You should post it in Discord probably. Okay, so they bounced pretty hard there. Are they gonna trade 39.60 now? Ace is waiting for a pullback to go short. I was looking at it, I was like, is Ace gonna try and go long there? Because I'm not so sure about that one. But then he comes out and he says he wants a short. Covered call on a micro mini. Treasury's still floating up there. It doesn't look like they're ready to pound through that 03, but, well, maybe they are. I don't know, that was a pretty aggressive uptick. You can see, though, that the E-mini's not ready to bust through that 39.60.5 yet. They're still just stuck in this little rut here. Yeah, it's holding pretty firm right there. Okay. It looks balanced. They may have to trade across at 02.5 for a while. It just looks like it'll be really hard for them to get through either side of this unless one side pulls. Oh, but looks like the O2 pulled. Interesting that it doesn't show up here. I thought we'll have another turnaround Tuesday, first up, then down hard. It's kind of hard to judge what it's going to do, isn't it? I thought things would pick up a little bit by now. But nah. Ooh, Nokia sees slash up to 10,000 jobs as it prepares to dominate 5G rates. Nokia is one that I want to keep an eye on. Let's see here, dollar taking a little dive there just now. Oh, 2.5's thickening up there too, so that might be as high as the treasuries can get. Hmm. EMA says the safety committee did review the blood clot issue with the AstraZeneca vaccine. Well, there's your pullback. Well, a little more tepid there than maybe you would like, but say you think markets are going to get a 50 handle move tomorrow. You buy 20 of the 45 delta calls. Now you are 9 delta short, 9 underlying to hedge delta move happens. And now the calls have that doesn't make any sense to me. That's too brief. Okay. That was a little bit more convincing. I'd say the bids are still stronger than the offers, but it's kind of backwards over here. Over here, the offers look stronger. Hmm. Well, that didn't last very long, did it? Yeah, well, you need a lot of money to hedge the Delta option in the underlying. That's probably, yeah, that would make a lot of sense. That's another problem is I see a lot of potential in some option strategies, but you've got to have a lot of money. Okay, so we're getting these capacity utilization numbers. 73 spot 8 versus a forecast 75 spot 5. So actual negative, where did it go? Production month over month, actual negative 2 spot 2 versus a forecast spot 3. So capacity utilization rate, also bad. Well, the only thing that I'm picking up from you guys, so Ento saying, my guess is they'll raise the prices before stimulus money starts coming in. Vlad says other traders think it's going to be consolidation near highs waiting game. And all I'm noticing from those comments is that none of you give a shit about the economic numbers that just came up that were so bad. Am I missing something? And it looks like Ace is set up short. Mm, I don't think he's stopped out yet, but it's not looking very good, does it? If you placed a market order of 5,000 contracts, how fast would it go through? Well, if you hit 5,000 contracts, you would probably trade right through all of that instantly. Yeah. I don't give a shit because it's just what happens when you give free money. Money ends consuming dips. Yeah. Hasn't it been the case for a while? It still tends to react to actual news, at least temporarily. Like I still think you get like a dip on the open and then maybe later in the day they recover it, you know? Okay, so the treasuries just went through '03. Pretty convincingly, I might add. Oh man, that guy looks like. So here's the paparazzi photos from Prince Philip coming home from the hospital. Yeah, that guy looks like he didn't have much longer, anyways. He just looks terrible. Now looks like they're going to go into 04 in the 10-year. There they go, yeah. What do you mean, how do you rig this in? I don't think that's what you meant to say. Oh, look, level break set up at 04. That's a 50-50 right there. Where are we at with all-time high? I think the all-time high was at 60. Okay, so there was a pretty heavy flush of volume there at 63 in the E-mini. Good 500 contracts sold at market. As the treasury fails, the level break setup. Joe Manchin says, you better believe we have a crisis at the border. Well, it's not a positive thing for Democrats for him to be saying that. Volkswagen soars 30% on a profit upgrade and plan to dethrone Tesla. Yeah, they said Volkswagen is the new Volkswagen, is what it's what Zero Hedge was saying, which is freaking hilarious. Okay, yeah, I see the short here. It's awfully close to the open, huh? And it's been awfully quiet morning sessions, so I don't know. I feel that 40,000 is too far away. To make in one day. I mean, it's kind of funny how they think we're stupid for thinking Democrats wanted open borders, but all the migrants plowing into the border are thinking the same thing, so much so they're wearing Biden shirts. Yeah. Well, you know what that is, right? There's like these organizations down there that really want open borders, and they're giving them the shirts and playing the propaganda angles. It's just crazy, right? it's really something else. Okay, well, I would say Pueblo San Fronteras, that's the big one. Well, I'm not so sure that we got our short signal at 62, like Ace was saying. It kind of touched it, but it didn't go through it. Man, on that, because I mean, it will matter politically, and I think that this could play a really significant role in the 2022 midterms. And I feel that the Biden administration is making a really big mistake by saying there's no crisis and just trying to downplay the whole thing. Like, they're saying it's just a challenge that we need to resolve and all of this. Like, no, it's not, dude. This is like the border apocalypse, and it has been created by things that you did, because Donald Trump had solved that problem. The problem was solved, and then they came in and they got rid of those policies that I think were good policies to stay in Mexico in particular. It was caused directly by Joe Biden. And right now, it's a crisis. And you think that it's just going to be like, oh, okay, whatever, and then everybody's going to go back. Okay, no. When it is millions of people per week in the spring, when it warms up, yeah. Then do you think that we'll call it a crisis? You know what I mean? Like there's this, I just can't understand what they're thinking. Like, do they really think that this is the worst that it's going to get? You really think that the American public is going to buy that, oh, it's not a crisis, it's just a challenge thing 3 months from now? You know what I mean? I mean, he could just build more cages. No one will complain. They're not cages anymore. We use different words now. Oh, jeez. A recent report, administration needs to do nothing but signaling lower expectations. That's a sentiment survey. 2 minutes to the open. I bet you that on the open, there's going to be a little bit of buying, just enough to piss me off, and then... Seemed like the last couple of days we had short squeezes with the markets running up in the last half hour of the day. Well, so here's what my thesis is on the runs at the end of the day. When you see a run at the end of the day, it is most likely people with options trades trying to push the market so that they have more profits, so that they can mark to market more profits. Yeah. So remember this square root law of market impact, right? When you make a big trade, you have an impact on a market that is equal to a constant for the market that you're in times the square root of the number of shares that you trade over the total volume for the day. And this is a limitation. You can only push the market up so much because of this. But with mark-to-market rules, they say at the end of the day, here's how much money you've made. And it doesn't factor in that you have this huge position and that you're going to have to move the market when you sell it. And so you really don't actually have that much money is the gist of it, right? And so the mark-to-market rules allow you to overcome the square root law of market impact if you're able to push it your direction. So what they do is they try and push it towards the close of the day to maximize their impact. You don't think it is margin traders needing to get out before? Well, I mean, that can happen too, but... And there's also like people... margin calls that happens at certain times of the day too. Well, what do you know? They're just the open immediate selling Pretty strong and clear selling, I might add. Well, there's a little bit of a pullback. So I'm going to reduce my risk a little here. Immigrants came to my home and English became a second language. Oh, really? Well, I'm okay with there being lots of immigrants as long as they're coming legally and as long as we've done the analysis about how it affects the economy and that we have a model that shows what the optimum number of immigrants to come in is. But this idea that we should just open the border and let everybody through is just crazy talk. So at 39.60.5, there was some significant absorption. Oh yeah, there is some significant absorption there. So I think what we're getting here is probably stocks on the open have to adjust for the numbers and all. But oh wait, what happened there? Okay, no, I'm fine. Probably they have to adjust for the numbers there, but it looks like the futures traders and everybody else is trying to buy the dip. So when I place that order, I expect it to be out. So let's just fix that. Fine. Still made $30 overall. Oh, now it goes. Were you selling? I was selling, yeah. I've been short since the retail sales number. Well, let's open up and look at our little. Let's look at some stocks here. Since this is still pretty, I mean, it's good trade, go back and forth, but it's still pretty difficult for me to see what it's going to do. So wasn't getting the news move that I wanted, and the liquidity was kind of like not cooperating. So we just stop it there instead of trying to let it run. Could have gotten a lot more on that trade, but it's okay. We still made money. I guess I don't feel good about it because we made money because taking on a little bit of risk with some extra contracts, but yeah, it looks like tech's leading the way today by a long shot. Okay. I guess not. They kind of broke through and immediately ran into a wall there. I think I'm getting a little antsy. Let's just hands off for a second. There we go. So we can see ARK is up pretty good today, but Tesla is down. So one of ARK's holdings must be doing really well. And PLTR is down too. So how is ARK doing so well? GameStop is just getting destroyed. Oh yeah, they got hammered. Oh, I didn't see that they dipped late into the day. I never went back and checked yesterday. Okay, so they're still trading a lot of volume here. Some excursions on the downside, but this could just like drop out. So far, though, it's not. Yeah, that is some volume, man. There's absorption both ways here. So not necessarily what I'm looking for. Damn. All right, well. Tech stocks lead equities higher. Well, that could be the buying, with Apple and Amazon leading the way, because almost everything else on my list here is red. Well, the VIX is red too, so. But that would fit in with the theory that the stimulus buying is leading the way, right? I think that you're going to get forced selling in GameStop now that they've opened up lower. Finding it difficult to get a good spot here today. Okay. So there is this high from just before the market opened at 64 and a quarter. It looks like they're going to pierce that. Having a little bit of difficulty doing it though. And then so some people fading both ends of the range here, it seems. Oh, it looks like it's so close and then they don't do it. Okay. Okay. Ah, there they go. That should get them going. It's interesting that the NASDAQ is holding up despite Tesla taking a hit. Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, and remember Tesla taking a hit because Volkswagen deal, right? What's the best health? Man, I don't know, man. That's not something I've ever looked at for sure. Kathy should have bought Das Auto instead of Tesla? Maybe. Wish I had gotten on Volkswagen. Well, I feel like that that's maybe one that you could still try. Yeah? Okay. Oh, yeah, they got through him easy. There was a big order there at 39.65, and they chewed right through him and slipped through. Could you make a tutorial on stop volume? What do you mean by that, SimSam? Like, you mean the volume stop that you can do in Jigsaw? Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, so I've shown you before. Jigsaw has a tutorial about it on their YouTube as well. There's your... I didn't quite get it yet. I need another tick. But here again, you push the $sign on your DOM to get this trade window thing to show up. Oh, why do I have that one? I need the 10-year. So here's the 10-year. And then you want to have a number put in this little SV window. the number of lots that you want to trigger it off of. And then when you put a stop or a stop limit, it will go in according to that number. See? It's that simple. Don't need to make you a whole tutorial on it. I think that should be more than enough for you to figure it out. Just SV box right there. That's it. Okay, so they did finally fill me. So next question is, how much should we try and let this run? So this is a tough one because I'm seeing some things that make me think that like this could just keep going for a while. But it is awfully tight today, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, I guess they are still kind of in waiting mode ahead of FOMC. Okay. Man, it is, it's trading like 500 at almost every step these days. Regulators back after COVID vaccine. I don't know who to listen to anymore. I know, right? Yeah, well, I think though that, from what I'm hearing, oh man, that was what I wanted right there. Okay. Let's just manage it from right there. Come on. Okay. Oh, we do got the housing index numbers at the top of the hour. I wanted out of that one because I saw the 1,000 up at the top and I was waiting for 1,000 to get out and then I missed it. But that was good. That puts me at 55 today. So the thing that I understand with the blood clot thing is that in all of the cases where there was blood clots, there was like something else that they're like, oh no, it wasn't, it had nothing to do with the vaccine at all. And I think that they're still on that. So I think that's why they're all saying that. But in this kind of a case, I don't know. In this kind of a case, for them to say like cancel the vaccine outright, it would take a lot more, right? It would take a lot more. Let's just leave it at that. So I'm gonna need to look at the liquidity here in GameStop. Okay, so their liquidity looks decently normal. There's some pretty big bids out there, comparatively speaking. Plowing right through that. So I would say that for now, GameStop looks healthy. I think that there will probably be some forced selling later today. But for now, it's not happening. And they could hold it out. I mean, if they're able to get a good hold, they could turn it around quickly, right? The EU's messaging towards the AstraZeneca vaccine has been political for a long time. Yeah. It's hard because, you know, scientists and politicians and companies have incentives too. Now that's interesting that silver's getting hit there, even though the silver market not really down from yesterday. I mean, it's not as good as yesterday, but we do see some dollar strength coming in, though. I do definitely see some dollar strength coming in. Are they going to break the session high in the, okay, 80, 91, let's say 91.85. Bank of America FMS inflation expectations are now at an all-time high. Net 93% of FMS investors expect higher inflation in the next 12 months, up 7% month over month, and now an all-time high. Zero Hedge tweets that, oh wait, where did it go? GameStop's crashing a small cap slump. And back to the open. See, I'm not gonna count out 4,000, but it's a big ask, right? Target 2 would put us above it. Target 1 would put us at 39.85. Okay, well, they recovered that dip and made it to a new high there pretty easily, I would say. I suppose I could have tried trading that, but meh. Now, I find it really, the thing that I find the most interesting, you guys were saying, it's interesting that the NASDAQ is pushing up so much, considering that Tesla is down so much. I find it interesting that ARK is up more than 0.25% with Tesla down. That is unusual. Semiconductor stuff going well, sure. But you're definitely getting a rotation here, right? See, like what's happening is the big guys are going into their regular cyclical rotations, and the retail traders are still piling into tech stocks. That's what it looks like is happening. So like semiconductors is like an early cycle rotation. And if you're running off of we're at the beginning of a new bull market and based off of the interest rate cycle and everything else, that rotation should have already happened and they should be rotating out of that. Large institutions are rotating out of it, it appears, but the retail traders aren't because of the stimulus. Well, I should note that FCX is down like 4%. That's copper. So that part of the trade is doing poorly today. Okay. So the numbers that we're getting here for the housing market index, pretty close to in line. Business inventories spot 3 versus the forecast spot 3. And the housing market index 82 versus the estimated 83. Also, folks, we need you to hit that like button, else the bank will come and take your house. Listen, guys, Ace is joking about the taking your house thing. In case you didn't know. I'm just, I'm sure that there's somebody there. I'm sure there is somebody out there listening to the stream that was like, "Oh no, I don't want to lose my house," and they went and they clicked that like button as quickly as they could. But it was just a joke, okay? They'll take your kids too. Oh my gosh! So when I was a kid, when I was like 3 or 4, so before my memory really starts, maybe I might claim that I vaguely remember it, but it might be like a false memory. But there's a person that lives in Utah with the same name as my father, and this other guy is a total deadbeat. So they got the order to take this other guy's kids away. And so Child Protective Services came to our house and came to take the kids, came to take us away, came to take the kids away. And the CPS guy that was there with the police was like, something's not right. I don't think this is the right place. This is a nice home with a good family and well-adjusted children. I don't think that I think we got the wrong house. So yes, I almost got taken away from my parents. But don't worry, we won't do that to you, because you all clicked like. Lumber surge adds $24,000 to the price of new homes, tweets Carl. Oh, I was seeing that one yesterday. I kind of wonder if I sold here's the thing is, when I see stuff like this, I'm like, oh, I should sell my house. This is a great place to take profits. But then I'm like, where would I live? And build a new house? Yes, $24,000 more to build. Some poor losers go like, oh, that's okay. Just so that you know, the dislike button increases the engagement on the video and helps it out anyways, but it will prevent you from seeing my content in the future. So if you're just joking around, just realize that YouTube might not recommend you as much. And so make sure that you're subscribed and that you've got the notifications turned on and all of those things. But if you're not joking and you really dislike this channel, first of all, fuck you. But second of all, thank you for helping out the channel anyways. Well, Tesla is chopping there quite a bit all of a sudden. You know, I am curious. I am honestly really curious as to how this change in Tesla affects them. Like, they've been the Momo. If they no longer have the Momo and the Momo is Volkswagen, and this whole thing is overvalued, you know, like this, there could be some real knockoff effects from this Tesla thing. I'm going to watch this closely. The dislike prevents you from being promoted to other viewers' faults. So YouTube has talked about this many, many times, and they said that at first that's what they tried to do. But then they found that like decreased engagement across the site. So like they tried a bunch of different things, and they found that the thing that increased engagement, like viewership on the website, the most was just a like or a dislike has the same effect. They both promote a video. So yeah, if you dislike the video, it actually helps it. And it prevents it from being promoted to you, but it doesn't prevent it from being promoted to other viewers. In fact, I've had, and I know this is a fact because we've had days where people dislike bombed the video, and that video went viral purely because of the dislike bombing. Just like one of the streams. Which isn't particularly like the one-off. If you're going to dislike bomb something, do one of the one-off videos. But well, this has been pretty like they've come up and they've pierced those levels now, like what, 3 times? It was a difficult, choppy trade. I think that I will take what I got and run, because I think I got a little lucky there. Actually, no, I wasn't lucky. You know what? The first trade was a good trade. I should have taken I didn't manage it very well. But the first trade, off of the numbers, when like it didn't really react, I got stopped out of it, and then I took it again. I think that was a good trade. Then there's the other thing, which is the TikTok. So let's go look. I had a TikTok when I went to bed last night. It was getting a bunch of views, and I was like, what? It's so crazy, the difference. Like if it just shows you to like the base group of people and like nothing happens and you get like 100, 200 views and then that's it, right? But when the algorithm decides that it likes you, all of a sudden it's like 5,000 views and it's insane. It's insane the traffic that you get. All for like something that takes like a minute. Oh my gosh, yeah, 99 plus notifications here. Oh geez. Rice is king is what this guy says. Oh yeah, some people. You know what I really like though? So when I come in, like here's this guy. This is a random person on Sunset Surfer 27. He came in. Can you see? Oh, no, you can't see it. But he came in and he saw that video and he's like, oh, this is a good video. And then he went back and watched all of my other videos and liked all of those too. He really liked our content. And I've got a bunch of questions that I'm going to have to make videos to respond to. What this? No, could you give me an opinion on Btcc? I don't understand. When I bought it, Bitcoin was low. Now it's higher. Thanks. Oh, because that's a stable coin. I think that's a stable coin, isn't it? I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Oh yeah, this guy came back. That's funny. TikTok is supposed to be made up of short clips. Well, I post long clips. Oh, that's funny. Okay, and then that's where I was. So how many views does it got? Almost 10,000 views. That is crazy. Oh, and we're almost to 2,000 followers over there now. You know what is going to be funny when we have more viewers on TikTok than on YouTube? But you know what, you guys on YouTube, you're the ones that are going to get the real, right? You guys are, especially you guys that have been around here forever. Vlad, by the way, I don't compliment Vlad enough, but he is here every day. He probably comments more than anybody else. And he comments on the videos afterwards, which I really appreciate. I don't always know what to say on those videos, but when you guys comment on the live streams after the live stream happens, that helps the video out so much. So thank you very much. I guess we should give kudos to Smoker too, because he's probably the newest and he's been here like what, every day for the past week. Vlad, yes, I'm smart. You think they're gonna go up and make that high again? This is a really choppy market. Yeah, I have to go and make a bunch of TikToks today to answer some of these questions. I like to respond to those with the video comments. I like that. It's funny. You know what? It really irritated me at first. When you leave a comment on TikTok, it has to be really short. But then I realized, because what they really want is they want the creator to go in and respond to those comments and make another video. And they make it so that it's better to reply with a video because you can say more in a video. Oh, they're so devious, don't you think? Oh, yes, let's go check on the Bitcoins. The Bitcoin's coming back up, maybe? Nope. No, hasn't really done much. Hasn't really done much here. Well, I don't think that it means a whole lot, but man, what if it turns back down and they push 5,000? Then that could mean something, yeah. Now on the by the way, Treasury is still up at 0.3 I'm wondering if they're going to get squeezed higher here or not. Well, let's see here. Let's come back and look at our volume profile from yesterday. So yesterday it was mostly up, and now today it's mostly up as well. So are they trading that they think that the Federal Reserve is going to be really, really dovish again? Probably. And the dollar coming up there didn't quite come through. Didn't quite, it goes that. They didn't quite pull through there, if you can see kind of in the upper left. And oil not doing so well today again. Silver doing okay. Silver might be able to pop out the top side here. It looks like Tesla. So Tesla, we should remember, even though Tesla is doing poorly today, they're still at 700, which has kind of been a support level for a while. So even though I've been saying like, even though I'm getting all excited, it might not be that significant. We'll take a few days to really know. GameStop down 20% though. And they're heading down towards the daily lows, it looks like. Oh, my rare earth resources is doing well today. And my sumo is doing well today. Well, I guess I would expect the sumo to be doing okay. They kind of look like they've bottomed out, but this one was bad. So all of this was like, the rest of the market is going down. I would expect the tech to go down too. And then earnings came and it was like crap. Yeah, it can consolidate. Oh yeah, here's a good point, is that it will also be really hard to keep Tesla down because there's going to be so many people trying to short it, especially all those institutions. Well, I guess if you were bullish on the treasuries, this spot right here at 0.2 wouldn't be too bad. Oh, by the way, did our robots ever take other trades? Brandon lost. The Jays never took one. They must be messed up. You have to do some debugging because that's not right. They should have taken some. HF says Bitcoin fall something to do with India. Well, I did see that, but I really think that it was just a false breakout. Like they broke out to 6,000 over the weekend, and then the liquidity wasn't there when things started, and so it just fell back. So this move right here, I wouldn't read too much into it. We might go higher, we might not. Certainly, if we start breaking like definitely the 5,000 level, but even before that, you're going to start seeing people start talking about head and shoulders and stuff like that. So there's definitely some technicals sentiment that might change. But I guess the reason why I'm hedging so much on the Bitcoin is because it seems to me that somebody can just print more money and it will go right back up and it doesn't matter, you know? So all I know is that, yeah, it would not take much to get it to completely puke. Oh, we should fix this. Oh, we should come back over here. Oh, you beat me, Uzi. Wow, you're so fast. So when he's that fast, usually it's a good thing, right? It means that he already made his money. Oh my gosh, you know what? So I was looking at it the other day, our sign, and I'm looking at where my head, because it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit on that wall. It doesn't fit on that wall. It fits on that wall. But that's where my head is. Oh, that's fun. Is that what it is? Is it's the Count on Salim sign-ins? I don't know. I haven't really heard too much from him lately. You know, I just find it a little disheartening that my trolls don't really care about me, you know? Like they don't care enough to really look at who I am as a person and understand my insecurity, because we talk about that sort of stuff all the time, right? To really talk about my insecurities and to cater their trolling to me specifically, you know? That you know, I just, it's really disappointing, but maybe someday we'll get better trolls, you know. Must have had a day off from his shipbreaking job, but so who knows. Yesterday was a Monday, you know, whatever. Still pretty thick on the inside here in the treasury. It's like the liquidity is starting to get pretty healthy here. They're definitely, that means that people are definitely hedging ahead of the FOMC, doesn't it? Say the tick is still up. Well, look, this is like the fourth. When I look at this chart right here, so I'm counting these little tails right here. I'm counting these two little tails that happened at 7:57 and 7 and 8 o'clock as touches. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This one has been slightly lower yet, but maybe it will come up and then that will be 4. But it's been up against this 3970 level like 4 times. It is just choppy and tight. Adrian, hey, how are you? Volume in ES is weird today. Still only like 60% rolled into the June contract yesterday. The order flow is still weird. Oh, really? So there's still some volume over in the other ones, huh? Yeah, I don't know. That is kind of weird. Oh, Intel is doing well today, apparently. Qualcomm up 3%. $2 million June, 1.3 million March. Why would that be? Well, maybe because FOMC. Yeah, maybe they're not rolling over because of FOMC. Do you think the market will crash anytime soon? Not necessarily. I do believe that the markets in general, most markets at the moment are vulnerable to crashes, let's say. They're very vulnerable, but it is not likely to see the crashes, at least not yet. You know, with when you're just pumping trillions of dollars into the economy, it's really hard to have a stock market crash. You get what I mean? But the way that people buy it ends up being reckless and kind of creates a situation where if it does go down, it can get really far on forced selling, right? So, you know, that's kind of how that goes. Now, the exception of that would be Bitcoin, because here on Bitcoin, if Bitcoin falls apart, I'm not going to say that it's unlikely in that case, because Bitcoin is just so far beyond that it is very, very difficult for them to hold these prices. Oh, my mom came over. What's with that? Anyways. Oh, she must have been brought back because I left some leftover food over at her place. She must be stopping over to say hi on her way to work. It's only 8:30. I'm thinking, I was like, oh. Well, the past few days we've been ending out about right now, but we got another hour left. We can sit and relax, though, I think. Oh, man, they're selling it again. Oh, it's not too much. There's somebody observing it there at 68. I think they might be okay. If they come back down, they may still push up. We could call it an ascending triangle. Oh man, I was looking to test an ascending triangle because I was like, you know, if any technical indicator that I've seen, any technical chart pattern that I've seen that people seem to believe in, it is the ascending triangle. And I myself, I wouldn't short into an ascending triangle, no way. But what actually are the stats and probabilities on that, you know? So I started looking, and there's not an indicator for that in NinjaTrader. In fact, I could find a Head and Shoulders chart pattern indicator, but that was it in NinjaTrader. I remember in Thinkorswim they had like pattern stuff. Many platforms have that sort of thing. So then I started going into, okay, how do I detect it? And it's like you have to find two trend lines, and the top trend line is flat and the bottom trend line is rising, and they've been touched like 3 times and stuff. It's just like, it was hard. Well, it wasn't hard, but it looked complicated. I haven't tried to make anything yet. It looked like it was a little bit more complicated of a task than I anticipated, because I thought that it was just going to be like something was already going to exist and you would just test it. But I really want to test ascending triangles. Voodoo magic lines. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I think. But I haven't explicitly tested that. So there's this guy on the, what is it called? The pattern side or something like that. And he has all of these setups. And he says, here's how often they win, and here's how much it makes on the upside and the downside, and the average, all of this sort of thing. And I look at that, some of the stats that he has there, and I'm like, that can't be right. So then, that's where I'm kind of getting into, okay, so let's test them ourselves. When you're wrong by 30 points on NQ, you need to stop out on days like today trying to counter it. Well, yeah, I wouldn't be selling NQ today, would we? Watch, now that I say that, it's going to just plummet all day. Oh, we should keep an eye on here on Twitter, huh? U.S. stands out like a sore thumb in both our own survey and outside surveys. The euro area is at the other end of the spectrum. The sources of inflation pressure will shift a bit as economies reopen, but we expect the U.S. to retain its sore thumb status. Oh, CCIV up today, huh? That's interesting. Carl Quintillis says Goldman has a couple of cool screens today, including one for margin expansion tailwinds. Ooh, what is this? Open image in new tab. Stronger forward growth with margin expansion tailwinds. Dollar Tree stores. Amgen, EA. Interesting. You're looking for MQ to drop, but who knows? I'm flat right now. It keeps moving. Yeah. Well, they're definitely built the distribution here in the 67 area, haven't they? Now, of course, the melt up at the end of the day could come in again and push them to 4,000, but I still think that 4,000 is a tough ask for today. Spot Gamma says the March expiration should flush out the remainder of the negative NASDAQ QQQ Gamma position. You think another 10 points maybe in the NASDAQ? Oh, you hear that black buy there at 04.5 in the 10-year? I think that them tech companies are liking that rates decreasing. I just kind of wonder. So, well, that's funny. Well, I said let's get a negative retail sales print and then go to new all-time highs. There you have it, right? We're definitely at new all-time highs. That is today's title. Huge retail sales miss, but new all-time highs anyways. Silly bears, they blown up. Yeah, well, who would be shorting it here? I don't know. I don't actually think there are people actively shorting it. I could be wrong, but I don't think that they're actively. I think that there's just a lot of profit taking on this. There's a lot of scalping and profit. Like the market makers are really active today, it seems. Yeah, not anymore. Yeah, I just not seeing the. Like these move down look more like buyers that got in at poor spots bailing than it does shorting. But I'm just basing that on my inventory cost basis and everything. like the amount of I'm gonna take a nap now. Anyways, the amount of inventory being taken on long compared to short is pretty good. So that suggests to me market makers are just playing it on these two sides, and that a lot of this supposed short is actually just profit taking, and that the true amount of shorts is very, very low. Let's see here, 400. When I short my time, that's a great way to do it, Adrian, too. Short plays tend to move faster. To do intraday, one should have lots of patience. You're doing a great job. Waiting is so frustrating. Yeah. I don't know. I've been doing really well lately, and I'm not 100% sure why. Is the things that I'm doing really working well, and I'm trading that great, or is it just random and I'm just lucky? But it's been really good lately, and on everything. The stream's been doing good, TikTok's doing good, and then the e-mini trading has been doing good, and the treasury trading has been going good. It's like, how can we be doing so well all the time? I gotta check TikTok, yeah. Well, a lot of the stuff that I post on TikTok is going to be things this year for me anyways, but soon I think we could start getting into more level 2 stuff. Fin talk. Yeah, there's some guys on there that are good, but there is a lot of nonsense. There's really a lot of nonsense. And I find it, the thing is that there's a very much investment into the sort of mindset that I hate, which is like, who should you trust? You go and find this person and they're going to tell you what to buy and sell, and you just follow them. This is not the way that good investing works, You're definitely going to grow a lot. Yeah. Well, the YouTube channel keeps going. Like, I remember when we were at 5K and I was like, wow. And how long will it take to get to 10K? But based on like a couple of online models that I've looked at, like the Social Blade stuff, we could be there by the end of the year if we keep growing at this rate. Probably we won't get there by the end of the year, but it's possible. And this is just mind-blowing to me. 10,000? That's a lot of people. And from the way the growth has been going, we will probably get more. We'll probably have more subscribers on TikTok than we will here. But I'm trying to have more fun with the TikTok, right? So a couple of my videos are kind of more for fun, and want to have even more of those because that's what people like, is something that's funny. Even the trolls add up. Yeah, really. It's kind of funny, isn't it? Well, that's the thing that I just find so ironic, is that the negative engagement helps. It's just, it makes sense. I mean, you can't come in and punish videos for negative engagement, because then people just game that, and then nothing does well. So I totally understand why it happens. Yeah. 5.5k subs, 3.9k suddenly. Yeah, ad revenue is ad revenue. Well, we don't make that much from ad revenue. I tell you what, man, it's it's just crazy how things scale. Like that's the thing that is so wild. And when you look at like how people make money in the stock market, when you look at how scaling happens in YouTube, then that sort of thing can start to make a little bit more sense, you know? Because for us, it's like I would say, well, I don't know how exactly I can go into it, but you know, we have 5,000 subscribers, and that results in a couple hundred a month of revenue that we just put back into making the stream better. Like that's how we bought this. Well, you can't see it, but we got the scrolling LED. I think there's a little bit more work. We might not see that for a couple more months because I want to be able to control it with Wi-Fi. But 5K is a lot. And you can do stuff with it. Like we bought these lights and we got some microphones. We got a lapel microphone for some videos that I want to do. You know, I'm really impressed. It was never an amount of success that I ever thought that I would be able to accomplish, because I tried doing stuff with YouTube and social media and stuff and other areas outside of finance, like in gaming and stuff, and just never really went anywhere with it, right? And then we're doing finance and we're doing really well with it, right? But when you go and look at it, I have like 5K subscribers, and there's some of these guys. So there are other people just in our space that have 10,000 subscribers, right? So 10,000 subscribers can get you to like 500 a month. And then when you get to some of the top guys in the finance space on YouTube, these people are making tens of thousands a month. And when you get outside of that and you just get into entertainment, like probably the best out there to look at, like in terms of like how much they make, is the Sniper Wolf girl. Holy crap. She makes so much. She's making something like 60K a month off of YouTube. It took you 4 years to get 5K subs, and it will take you 4 months to get your next 5K. Yeah, like that's what it looks like. And the thing is that all it really takes is like 1 or 2 videos going, you know? It's easier with boobs. Well, there are certain advantages and disadvantages to being a female online. Having boobs is an advantage, but it's also a disadvantage in other areas. But I tell you what, that girl, she is smart. Oh man, you want an example of somebody that doesn't necessarily super educated, but still is highly intelligent. You know, this person where you say some of the best traders are not the big high school brainy people. And I would point to her as an example. She is just really good at playing the YouTube, you know? She is really good at playing the YouTube. She deserves that money. Like my kids watch her, and I watch the videos. I think they're hilarious. And I'll look at that and I start to think about what it takes to make that content and how much she makes, and I realize that she's really smart. Like, it's not just like you get on and you have boobs and you get lots of views. Like, you have to like plan this stuff out and know which things that you're going to go into and plan them out for good videos. And she does all of that, and she's amazing at it. They agreed. Not enough credit goes to these people on the trending page consistently. Yeah. Well, and it's the same thing on TikTok. It's, you know, so there is definitely what do you call it? There's like ELO hell on TikTok. I think that's a thing. But once you get one video to go and you get some subscribers, and then you make a video and you're, because that's what happened to me last night, was I made a video, and a couple of the guys on TikTok that I've had back and forth with that were kind of becoming friends said stuff about it, made comments on it, and it took off, and now it's got 10,000 views. I'm not saying she's dumb. I'm just saying the boobs are basically a magnet. That's the advantage for female streamers. You can be dumb and still be a millionaire. Well, yeah, that could be true. But that's where I was saying that there are some serious, especially if they stream. But there's some serious disadvantages too, right? Like let's just say that I was a girl. I think, I suspect at least, let's say that I suspect that if I was a girl, that this channel would not be as successful. At least not in for the content that we've been pushing, right? So like if I was a girl, maybe live streams would be more popular, but would my video on what's the best computer hardware to use, would that have taken off the way that it has? I don't think that it would. There's some real biases on those sorts of things, man. You find less e-thoughts on YouTube. Twitch seems to be more their nest. You have a better chance of finding talent on YouTube. That's probably true. Zereshin asks, do you know who Ross Cameron is? Yeah, so people talk about him a lot. I'm not really a fan of really big education courses. Like they've got a whole thing that they pushing, right? I've looked at his results, and he has had some good periods, and this is like any trader. It looks to me like somebody that is taking on a lot of risk, and I do not believe that his results would be duplicatable for the vast majority of people. So, and a lot of people suspect that the success that he does have is because of the people following him into trades. That might be true, but can't prove that one. The bargain basement of trading info, is that what you say? Well, he trades momentum, but he likes to trade really big stocks with low floats. So it's basically like he's coming into NQ. Like the best comparison for us in futures is like he's coming into NQ and taking on an insane amount of risk for it to pop up on momentum on him, and then he gets out. So the thing is that probably part of how he's able to get those continuations is the people following him into it, but also him taking on a lot of risk is part of how he makes this money too. And so that's why I say that even though it does appear to me that he's trying everything he can to be legitimate, his results are probably not going to be duplicatable for the vast majority of investors. So, but that's always going to be the case for anybody that does well, right? If everybody could duplicate it, then everybody would duplicate it, and it wouldn't have edge anymore, and they wouldn't be making money anymore, you know? But I think that there is a lot of information. I'm kind of thinking about how can I incorporate some of this, the more complicated stuff, because you run into this issue where it's like if you go too brainy on it, then you lose people, you know? Like should I go into a deep dive on deriving the Kyle model, you know? I don't think that video would do very well. And I want to share more information about the book on TikTok, so we'll get into some of that stuff. But again, it's like every time you put a video like that out, I've made a couple on that. They don't do as well. But I have some things that we need to address. Like one person was like, but you didn't say anything about what you should. Okay, what you should use. Okay, so we'll go into that. And I want to tell people, well, we'll practice, right? Say, because I did give some how do we say this? Actually, I did tell you exactly what to search for: optimal execution. So let's go into that a little bit. I'll do some of the work for you. If you're a large firm and you have to trade a bunch of contracts, how do you determine that you're executing optimally? Well, one of the metrics that they would use is the VWAP. They would say, well, if you're getting better than the VWAP, then you're getting better than average execution, VWAP or TWAP. Well, that's why you see the market react the way that it does around VWAP levels. It's because there are some big guys out there that actually use it. But guess what? It's old. The VWAP is old. They don't, the really sophisticated guys, they don't use that anymore. They're using optimal execution based off of Almgren Chris with their own, their own developments. Probably they've made 2 or 3 developments past that we don't know about. The problem is people want to know how someone works without actually listening to how it works. Yeah. And the thing is that I can't explain, like, I can come in and I can explain to you the principles in that or the edges that I'm looking for in terms of how latent liquidity leads to the distributions in the volume profile, and how market makers pull their orders based on the order flow that they're seeing and so forth. But how that actually translates to profitable entries right now, I'm a little unsure how I'm doing that, to be honest. I like having VWAP with 1 and 2 standard deviation on my chart because it's like a bell curve on the time series. Yeah, and I've definitely found some statistical aberrations where if you get too far away from the VWAP, there's a really high probability of reversing for a small amount. So well, there's always a lot of trade at the VWAP, isn't there? Especially in the treasury, like in the 10-year, if we were to come back down and we started trading L3, I very highly doubt that we would just trade 11 contracts and then go through the other side. Right? If we did, something like crazy is going over. And Q Beast. Well, they did make a pretty good excursion there higher when you were pointing it out, Floud, but it's still difficult. They actually broke the ATR stop there. This is a pretty strong move down. I was playing with the nail clipper in my hand and I dropped it. Someone just hit bids and impounds. Yeah. Well, so anytime that the liquidity decreases in a spot, it'll be very quick in the E-mini, right? But they'll go through a couple of prices on hardly any liquidity. Just watch those and see what happens in those areas. It was the highest volume since the open. Might have to wake up. Well, so do you see here that both GameStop and Tesla are holding their downside and trying to push up? So are we going to get like, well, Amazon is doing really, really well, as is Apple. Do I have this sorted by percentage change? Google, Apple, Amazon. It's like all of the big guys. Then all of the most shorted stocks are doing really poorly today. So it gets a fat tail behavior. Yeah. Yeah. So the issue with the VWAP trade is that you often only get to that spot where like the reversion is really likely. You usually only get to that during like a trend or a really strong up move, right? So then you get this fat tail thing where when you want to take it, you don't want to take it, you know? VWAP works great. Well, it's definitely something that I think you should keep in mind, right? But that's where I say they used it, and there's a reason why it works, but it is old. There are more efficient models for how to execute nowadays, right? And if you understand how those models work, you can kind of see things about the market, right? So, for instance, one of the things is that in the Almgren-Chris model, they provide room for you to be able to say, is there a bias to the direction of that day? And how much risk do I want to put on? So if you're really willing to take on a lot of risk to get better execution, then you want to hold off. So you want to take a little bit at the beginning, just a little bit at the beginning, and then slowly add more until you get. Whereas if you are risk adverse, you want to do the exact opposite. You want to trade the most that you can at the beginning and then exponentially decrease that, right? So when you come in and you see a move, you can think about those things. You can say, okay, well, I'm trading the 10-year treasury, which tends to be risk adverse traders, and they're trading off of something. I know the reason that they're buying it, and the kind of person that's going to hedge or invest based off of that sort of thing, are they somebody that wants to take on a lot of risk or not a lot of risk? And I can sit down and say, oh, well, this is somebody that's going to be risk adverse. Ergo, they're going to have a big amount of volume at the beginning, and then it's going to trail off. So me trying to follow that particular trade doesn't make as much sense. Whereas if it's coming in and these are people that I think are going to take on a lot of risk and it was a big move, that probably means that there's like twice as much volume still waiting in the shadows to come out, and you can more likely take that one as a continuation, right? So understanding those models in the situation, you can kind of, okay, so it's Almgren-Chris. Let me find it for you guys. I think I've found the link for you guys before, but Almgren-Chris with 2 S's. There you go. Optimal Execution of Portfolio Transactions by Robert Almgren and Neil Chris in April 8th, 1999. Right? So the big caveat there with that is that Almgren-Chris has had a really big impact on the market over the past 20 years, but their paper came out 20 years ago. See? Most retail traders don't know about this because they assume that it doesn't matter anything to us. But do you think that the key paper that almost all execution teams, like when you go to Goldman Sachs and you say, I want to, sell X thousand of this thing, and can you do it for me? What you're paying for them for is their execution expertise, because they're good at giving you an optimal execution. And what is the basis of that? Robert Almgren and Neil Chris's paper. So do you think that could be useful to you as a trader? Yeah. It's not giving you like an exact strategy, no, but this is important information to know, I think. So that's how I look at that. And I'm still studying this one. I need to learn more about this. I haven't actually read the whole paper. So, but look, they get into all sorts of stuff. Multiple security portfolios. And here's the dynamic programming, the risk adverse, the risk neutral, and the risk neutral gain due to serial correlation. So this, I believe, is the case where they're saying they expect that the thing is going to be moving up anyways because of a correlation with something else. So how do you execute when it's moving up? Do you need to do more contracts at the beginning or end? And those are the kind of questions that it asks. Another thing is that there's this whole bit, man, I'm just thinking about it, and I'm going through all of these things that I've learned recently about it, right? One of the things is that when you trade through and you disrupt the liquidity, that makes it harder for you to execute. So they wait a certain amount of time for the liquidity to rebalance. So that's another one, is you could look at this today. That would be one that would be really, really useful, is if you really think that they're going to push it all the way to 4,000, you could look at how the waves are and try and estimate when they're going to start executing again by waiting for the book to normalize. How we would detect that the book is normalized, I'm not sure. But you can definitely tell that there's like a wave pattern to it, right? And that's why it behaves the way that it does. So, useful stuff. Man, that was a good 30 minutes talking about that. So maybe it's because of daylight savings time having me off and everything, but I feel like 3 hours here seems like a really long time today for some reason. Let's check here, TweetDeck. Marine unit apologizes for tweets on Tucker Carlson comments. Yeah, that one was weird. Gold grinds to highs of the day as the slow recovery continues. Oh, I didn't catch that gold took a big spike there at 1740, but then it immediately came back through. Oh, and I didn't notice also that silver is struggling a little bit today compared to gold's. Interesting. Yahoo Finance municipals fixed income product. We're supposed to pay attention to the treasury market, and we do under most environments. Goldman Sachs Scott Diamond says we haven't really done that. Municipal credit has actually done really well. Oh, really? That's really interesting. As far as Wall Street is concerned, COVID is history. A paranoid mathematician searches for a key number that will unlock the universal patterns found in nature. Well, the thing that I find so interesting is that whenever I look at a scholarly paper or a model that teaches us something important about the markets, it's never like, when X thing happens under these circumstances, you can take that long and you'll win 60% of the time. It's never like that. Maybe that's because the things that exist out there like that, nobody would ever publish it. But no, but they do tend to tell us something about the way that the market tends to behave. And then it's just kind of up to you to decide how to trade that. You know? Crypto trading platform eToro set to go public via SPAC at $10 billion valuation. Four more states join Texas in antitrust suit versus Google, including Alaska, Florida, Montana, Nevada, and Puerto Rico. Really? Pie by Darren Arfanowski. It reminds me of there's all this stuff about like Fibonacci numbers and some other numbers that play key roles in fractal functions that you'll see repeated over and over again. And when you try and go and run back tests in on the market using those numbers for some of your input values, whatever your indicator is, it would improve the setup, but it was still not like a very good setup. So this move down is a little bit more significant. So now for the first time, we are entering seller territory. And what is turning? Well, Google is still up 2.5%. I don't think that they can stay that high. And GameStop recovered some of its losses, but it's still down 10%. And Tesla has definitely recovered some of its losses. I don't know. I'm just kind of looking around here to see if I can find where it's coming from, but it must just be those small techs giving back a lot of their crazy gains for no apparent reason. I guess the rates did come down a little bit, so that might be it. The dollar is still kind of, doing weird stuff. There was that spike in gold and silver. We're just kind of trying to figure out where is the money going. The 5-year Treasury break-even inflation rate has surged above the comparable 10-year rate since Democrats won the U.S. Senate in January, taking the spread to the most negative levels on record in data stretching back to 2002, says Bloomberg. That's something that I totally forgot about, but we really should be paying more attention to the 5-year because that appears to be where people are targeting the curve now, according to a Zero Hedge article I read the other day. Them reporting on some treasury traders saying that they were all focused on the 5-year. Yeah, it looks like that's as far as they go for now. I'm kind of tempted to take another trade, but I don't know. I think that the trade would be short, and I'm not so into the short side right now. Especially not with where they've been. Would need some indication of, I guess I would need another spot to maybe take advantage of, huh? When a girl on a dating app asks, "How tall are you?" what is the appropriate response? Just give them how tall you are, you retard. Glenn Greenwald. If all one does is cling to fear in the dominant liberal consensus and just echo it in everything they do, then of course it's impossible to provide anything interesting or unique, and therefore impossible to have your own readership who supports your work. That's not a virtue. Oh, interesting. So he's kind of suggesting why CNN not doing so well right now. Ask her how much. No, Uzi, don't. That's not what you do. Ugh. Look, I was pretty good at this. Here's what you do. You just tell them how tall you are, or you put it in your profile. You just put it in your profile, unless you're short. And if you're short, then you don't want to put it in your profile. But if you're an average height person, I'm 5'9". So that's average. It's maybe a little bit under average based on which survey you look at. Okay, guys lie about their height though. Well, 5'9" is average height. It's funny. I'm average height, but I'm like under average everything else. Like my wrist is really, really small. If my height is important, so is your weight. Yes, but the calculus is different for you as a guy, right? So as a woman, you get tons and tons of matches, right? And you can filter through all of them, right? As a guy, if you filter too hard, you're just not going to get any matches at all. So you don't do anything. They ask you how tall you are. You just tell them where it is. But the better policy is to never give them the chance to ask that question in the first place, right? So you come in, you see something about their profile that you like, and then you say that to show that you actually read their profile, and you compliment them on it. But you compliment them on something that isn't like how they look. Like, don't say, "Oh, your hair is beautiful." Compliment them on something that is a result of their mind, right? Like that they chose nice clothes, or that the hobby, something about the hobby that they're interested in, right? And they respond to that, and then you set up a date, and they never get the chance to ask that question. And then you go on the date, and then you see how tall you are, and nobody cares, right? Well, I don't care. But at that point, the thing is that once you're there in person, you can overcome those other downsides, right? So the key for you as a guy on a dating, this is actually good advice. Thanks. Listen, I worked really hard when I was doing the dating thing. Okay. I went through like all of the data science that I do here in trading. Like I was doing all of that on dating. So. But anyways, once you're there in person, it's a completely different game. And then your personality and your presence is an asset, right? So then they see that you're 5'2" and run away. Well, yeah, if you're really short, man, I tell you what, guys that are short, it's just not fair. Tall privilege. It's tall privilege. It really is. You know, like this is the thing. One of the things that drives me crazy. Like I don't want to go too deep down this particular rabbit hole, you know, because then you get into the stuff that like really offends people. Okay, but I will admit that there are certain immutable attributes in our society that could give you an advantage or a disadvantage over other people. But what drives me crazy is that being a man that is tall is probably a more significant privilege than almost anything else that I've looked at. Like men that are taller make more and everything. That's people give priority to people that are tall, even though in our society it has absolutely no benefit. Oh, so the dynamic is different now. I met my wife way back before the simp swap became a thing. Yeah, well, on most dating sites, the issue is still that, well, so the issue on dating sites is twofold, in my opinion. Okay. First, most people on Tinder aren't actually serious. I would venture to guess that up to 70% of people that use Tinder never actually go on a date from it. Okay. Most people aren't serious about it. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is that because most people don't actually look at the data and are not self-aware, particularly on the female side, they don't really have a very good idea of what their market is, right? So you get a lot of people that think that their market value is much higher than it really is, and so they don't swipe right on the people that they should be, and that tends to be disadvantages the guys. That's why Tinder has, started putting things into it to fight back against those effects, like the super likes and limiting the number of likes that you get every day and stuff. Because what happened is the guys just started swiping right on everyone, and then the matching algorithm didn't work. But if you use the app the way that you're supposed to, it will tend to try and match you up with people that are within a similar attractiveness range. So, I think that it should also factor in height and stuff like that, but I don't think that it does. Anyways, so those are your problems. So for women, then the issue ends up being you get too many matches, and so the most important thing for you is what filters do you actually set up? Because the filters that women will naturally set up for themselves tend not to result in the best matches. They tend to select for assholes. Right. Whereas if you select off of, if you intentionally select, then you will be more likely to get the people that are actually serious and can result in relationships. Right. For a guy, the issue is attracting them. So for you, it's kind of funny. You actually want to do the things that the girls do a lot of stuff for, right? Like as a guy, you can go out, get your hair done good, like you get a haircut. Maybe even put on some makeup so that the camera photographs you well, like just some powder, okay, so that your skin is matte, and get a professional photographer and go somewhere nice and take nice pictures of you, right? And if you do that sort of a thing, when you're competing against all the other guys who the only pictures that they have is that one picture of them holding a fish, because they wanted to show that they caught this fish, but that's like the only actual picture they have of themselves, right? You have a big advantage on them, right? So doing those things and having a good like opening presentation makes the biggest difference for the guys. Then you increase the number of matches, and then the number two thing is getting them off of the app as quickly as possible. And to in person, because once it's in person, then it's a different game. And all of the bullcrap that everybody hates about Tinder is gone once you get them in person. So Tinder is for finding friends for a Bible study. I bet you probably could find. This is the thing that's so funny about Tinder is that people marketed it. I think that Tinder just spread the rumors. They marketed it as a hookup app, and it's not. It's just a dating app. There's nothing hookup-y about it, frankly. I'll sign up for a white tall male in our society every single time. Yeah. Well, I think even if you're like here's what I'm saying is that being tall does more for your success than being white does. Uzi is actually very simple, totally riskless. Get rejected 200 times a day and get 5 phone numbers. Yeah. But that's exactly how it works. Is you swipe on 100 people and you maybe get 5 matches. 5 matches would be a lot for a guy. And then if you can translate 30% of those to actual dates, you can end up going on like 3 dates a week. And then that could result in about 100, 200 dates in a year. And off of those statistics, you will probably find 2 or 3 people that you could can reasonably marry. And so if you really put in the work, you could get married within 2 years. Unless you're ugly. If you're ugly, then it's harder. No, Robert says the trick is to swipe on every possible girl and then select who you like. No, that actually hurts your experience. So Just because the application shows somebody to you and you swipe right on them doesn't mean that it will show you to them. Does that make sense? So there could be this girl that you swiped right on, and she might absolutely you're just perfect for her, and you're like right in her wheelhouse, and the algorithm won't show you to her. Why? Because you swipe right on everybody. So because you swipe right on everybody, and a lot of people don't swipe right on you, it believes that your value is low. And because it believes that your value is low, it will show you to less people, right? So if it believes that your value is high, it will start showing you to people as soon as they sign up for the app. They're like, he's active and people like him. He's going to be one of the people that we show to her when she first joins the app to stay engaged. So your matches will be better if you just, swipe right based on if they're better looking than you or not. And not only is this isn't just theorycraft either, right? So Tinder was having a problem because the women were swiping left on everybody and the men were swiping right on everybody. And so in order to fix it, they limited the number of swipes per day that men got based on how the ecosystem was. So the number of swipes you get is based off of the internal numbers, right? And when they did that, the number of matches on the platform increased to 20%. So it's not just like an outside the edge theory craft, maybe it kind of makes a difference. No, like it makes a significant difference. If you swipe right on everybody, it hurts your experience. I don't know why I keep messing with that and dropping it, but what the heck? Guess the algo has been, oh yeah. Well, I hear it's very different from when I did it. Because when I did it, they had just introduced super likes, and now it's like way different. I always laugh at those truck mud flap guys. What girl is going to get in a truck with a reclining babe on those mud flaps? Well, I'm going to bet you that the vast majority of those men are married. I could be dead wrong, but I'm going to bet you that most of those guys are married. Like let me posit this another way. When I'm on TikTok, the weeb community on TikTok is pretty strong. And the guys that I see that are pretty shameless about, I've got this pillow and I've got this thing and all of these really lewd figurines and stuff like that. And you think, well, what kind of a girl would ever marry that guy? Those guys usually already have a girlfriend. It's like being married and already having a girlfriend like makes you more brazen about that stuff. Because you know that your spouse doesn't care. Telling you, it's a thing. And especially those really strong weebs, when they get that deep into it, they found a spouse that likes it too. So then you get the girls that are, oh my gosh, one of the things on TikTok that I find really, really weird is like there's this trend where the girls admit to watching hentai, and I'm like, why would you? Okay, guys, that's I don't need to know that. Don't need to know what kind of porn you watch. Man, a dude I know is a weeb, 40 years old and very open about it on Twitter. It's effing weird. Well, that's because you're a little older than me, Uzi, right? But when we were in school, being into Japanimation, it was like a brand new thing. Nobody had ever heard of it before. So that just automatically made it a geeky, weird thing. And you would get made fun of for even liking it, right? Now, for the new generation, the kids that are in high school, it's the cool thing. The counterculture becomes the culture. There's no better example of it than weebs. Weebs is a trend. It's popular to be a weeb. Um, there is a good number of people that are more likely to go out with you if you're a weeb. It's so weird, right? Now I have to Google weeb. What does it stand for? It stands for weebo or something like that. It's basically a Japanese word for you're the loser. I could see it being popular if you're 14, not if you're 40. Yeah, but the thing is that the people that are really into it in their 40s are like, they see that it's popular amongst the kids, and so they're way more willing to be open about it now. Because I'm sure, well, I don't really consider myself a weeb. I actually, when I was in school, I had some friends that were really into anime, and so I watched them because they told me to watch this and watch this and watch this. And it was like, what are you going to watch? Because that was what I would do, is I would like download stuff off of torrents and watch them in my free time. So there was nothing else to do back then. But I stopped watching them after I stopped talking to those people, because I wasn't that into it. You know, it was something you could talk about with people. You know, so, but if I had decided that was my thing and that I had gotten into, I don't think that my wife would have been interested in me, because she's the kind of girl that's like, anything that's geeky or guyish is like, I'm not interested in, you know, and you force her, you not force, but you kind of, coerce her into doing it with you, right? Like we're playing Minecraft. We have to coerce her into playing Minecraft with us. That's what I'm saying, though. A single 40-year-old man into something because the kids are into it has some striking undertones. Yeah, it does. And there is some stuff in anime that seems, yeah, suspicious, let's say. You know, like some characters are intentionally drawn to look like little kids and stuff. It's like, there's even in my favorite anime, Evangelion, there's a little bit of that. They're supposed to be 14-year-old kids. But Asuka and Rei are considered sexy, right? Yeah. But no, on TikTok, it's like a big thing. Like if you're a girl and you're into anime stuff and you make a TikTok account about it, instant famous. Like instant famous. And you won't even have to please explain the end of Evangelion to me. Which part did you get lost at? Basically what happened was the evil Seeley organization were able to orchestrate the end of the world by creating a godlike organism that Shinji is in complete control of. And Shinji gets the choice to choose whether everybody merges together into one godlike entity, or if they are able to maintain their separateness. And he chose to allow everybody the choice. And so in the end, he chose to be a separate person from everybody, and then other people started coming out. And that is the end of it. So yeah, if you've never watched this show and you're listening to me explain it, you're probably like, I don't know if I want to watch that show. It's a really weird show. The ending of it is really like, what did I just watch? It is confusing AF. I see an average person that just, yeah, I would consider myself as an average person that, if it's a good anime, I'll watch an anime as willingly as I watch anything else, whatever it is that people are liking at the time. By the way, there was not a new Attack on Titan, because Attack on Titan, that's such a good show, man. And they didn't post a new episode this week because there was an earthquake in Japan, and so it didn't finish airing. So they have to wait for it to air in Japan before they can show it here. So I was a little mad about that. I was all, because man, watching the kid this weekend was exhausting. So it was just me, and he's pretty demanding. And then I tried to keep things clean, and I did some work too. So it was when my wife came home today, or yesterday, like we ate dinner, and then like I locked myself in the room. It's like, breathe. Yeah, it was an earthquake. It was a pretty big earthquake, my understanding too. Oh wow, the SBA mistakenly paid out $692 million in duplicate PPP loans. Ugh. Okay, well, it's time for me to get going. They still haven't broken that high, but it's not that far away from the high. I have to say, volatility sure has decreased a lot, hasn't it? Like volatility, like in terms of like the range of the day, it's a lot more constrained now. We're not having those 10-point moves all of a sudden, like we were. Range for the day is maybe like 15 points. So. Well, guys, yeah, I think we got a good title. Wow, we have more likes than concurrent viewers right now. But that's because a lot of you guys, I understand some of you guys get going when you start trading. Like some people, they watch until 7:30 and then they turn it off and they go and trade. And then other people, after 8:30, they go. I get it. Oops, it was me. Okay, guys, I will catch you tomorrow. Got a couple of TikToks to make today, too, so you can check those out. Speculator Seth on TikTok. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Stay profitable, friends.